That's right, Sophie.
Want to play pinball?
The ball's stuck. The ball's stuck. Sophie, help.
Just gotta be somewhere away I can get my pinball fix. What the hell? What's that? Not the kitty! Ah.
I guess this could work.
When the Virtual Boy was first shown off to the public, one of the first games debuted with the platform was an early build of a 3D pinball game, known at the time as Space Pinball. When showcasing the console, demo builds of this game were playable by members of the press to be able to test out the virtual reality experience that the console was hoping to achieve. Compared to many pinball games at the time, instead of splitting the pinball table up into multiple screens to showcase the whole pinball table, or condensing the tables down to fit a standard 4:3 aspect ratio of televisions at the time, this Space Pinball demo took a different approach. To combat the flaws that would sprout from these two methods, Space Pinball took advantage of the Virtual Boy's 3D effect to have the pinball tables be set in an angle to show the whole table, with the 3D visuals helping to gauge the distance of the pinball as it travels along the table. This killed two birds with one stone, making a more accurate gameplay viewing experience compared to other contemporary pinball games at the time, aside from the red and black visuals, of course. While the press wasn't too impressed with the Virtual Boy console itself, given that they reported getting eye strain and headaches from viewing the games, Space Pinball is looking pretty good, all things considered. This did not stay as a tech demo for long, because Nintendo decided to have the game ready and polished up for the launch of the console. Now renamed to Galactic Pinball, this title was set to be one of the 4 titles to launch alongside the Virtual Boy here in North America. As for the developers of this game was developed in part by Nintendo's subsidiary Intelligent Systems. You may know them nowadays for their frequent weeaboo chess games and constantly upsetting Paper Mario fans. They're pretty good at that. Definitely a bit of a genre departure for the studio, and a strange move on Nintendo's part as well. Previous pinball titles that Nintendo had made were created by HAL Laboratories, with them making Pinball on NES and Revenge of the Gator on Game Boy. I don't have a clue what the Gator is getting revenge for or how pinball is a factor in said revenge, but here I am questioning a Gator's logic. Those Gators ought to know what they're doing. I guess that alligator didn't know better.
Maybe because it's a crocodile. That's right, you've been bamboozled. Don't pretend you're some sort of reptile researcher. You thought I was an alligator too, didn't you? You have been hoodwinked here, baby.
Surprisingly, also not so surprisingly, a good portion of the development staff came to this project after finishing up work on the super niche Super Nintendo game, a little known title called Super Metroid. Only hailed as one of the greatest 2D platformers and the namesake of a whole genre, the Metroidvania. Yeah, very niche game that they worked on, not very highly regarded. The fact that most of the staff just came off of Super Metroid makes it very fitting that when they developed the pinball game for the Virtual Boy, that they gave it a sci-fi space theme. Knowing that many Metroid staff worked on Galactic Pinball, it certainly sets my expectations pretty high for the quality of the game. But then again, the game has to be ready for a system that was pushed out before it was primed and ready. Hopefully the rush nature of the hardware to get it out to market didn't have a negative impact on the game itself. Only one way to find out though. First, let's take a look at the packaging for the game itself. Honestly, the front box art is sort of bland, but it's kind of hard to make a pinball game seem super exciting. You got some pre-rendered CGI art on the front and the logo, which looks pretty clean, but this pinball table they're portraying looks like a messy house. You know, my house. The Japanese box art looks fine too, but the table here makes even less sense. Defend the galaxy from invaders in a spacey pinball game. Look, man, I signed up to swing flippers and send pinballs flying. What's all this nonsense about defending the galaxy from invaders from space? Perhaps the manual will elaborate on this. Well, you know, Galactic Pinball actually has a premise. Cosmic history, 2100 AD. The vast expanse of the Milky Way galaxy is unfathomable. It has seen empires rise and fall, wars rage, and peace reign. Many of the mysteries have been discovered, only to slip back into obscurity. And now, from the very depths of the galaxy, comes the news of a very strange world.
Welcome to Space World. Let's go.
That's right, we're jumping in Lukey's split. There's space to defend! Look at all that space! I love the bit-crushed voice when turning this game on. This person speaks with so much enthusiasm, like he knows his delivery was perfect, and that what you're about to immerse yourself into warrants a great hype man like him. I salute you, Space Warrior. I mean, who wouldn't want to escape reality into a red and black world made up of intergalactic pinball tables? What NASA failed to disclose is that they found a whole crap ton of pinball tables on the moon when they first landed. Upon leaving the title screen, you're given the choice of 4 different pinball tables to choose from. Now, back in the day, having 4 pinball tables in a video game was fairly uncommon, so this was a huge deal in '95. Nowadays, pinball games would have upwards of 20 tables to play on sometimes, and nobody will even bother to give them the time of day. Heck, I'd venture a guess that many people don't even go back to play pinball games, unless it's Windows 3D Space Cadet. That game doesn't count though, because what can compete with free Windows XP software nostalgia? The 4 tables in this game are Cosmic, Colony, UFO, and Alien. In Cosmic, you're a pilot of a space federation investigating the mysteries of the Milky Way. Many dangers await you, including space pirates. Use your pinball skills to solve the mysteries. Colony. The pinball table represents a large, deep space colony adrift in the cosmos. Enter a special game to protect the colony from collisions with asteroids. UFO. In this pinball table, you'll be called upon to remote control a UFO in order to defeat the evil skeleton and cash in on the jackpot. Alien. There are wicked aliens out there in the galaxy. Make them appear, destroy them, and collect the jackpot. Well, they definitely put a bit more thought into the tables than I imagined they would have, since most pinball games don't even give the story a play out on one table. Well, I feel like we should start off with the first table on the menu then. Cosmic. Cosmic's probably the most simplistic of the pinball tables in the game, being very light on gimmickry and making it the perfect table to start with. Most early pinball video games have always had the issue of never truly recreating the feel of hitting an actual pinball. This game is no exception, but they aren't fully trying to. If you notice, what you're hitting around in the game isn't even a pinball, but instead resembles a puck. That's pretty fitting, since if I could best describe the game feel in a way that's easy to understand, playing Galactic Pinball is like playing a cross between traditional pinball and air hockey. The weight and feel of the puck is very frictionless, and contact at walls ricochets the puck much like an air hockey table. It can take a little bit to adjust to at first, but I honestly love the way it feels. It feels spot on, and this twist to the way the pinball game plays fixes the dissonance of the pinball physics not feeling quite right. Since it's a puck with not a lot of friction given the space theme, I feel like I have a better understanding of what I can and cannot do with the ball. The music on the Cosmic table is also very catchy. In fact, the whole soundtrack is filled with good bops that fit all the tables quite nicely. The pinball tables are all made up of pre-rendered 3D graphics, which fit with the mechanical look of actual pinball tables as well. Cosmic has a few loops that you can extend outward more by hitting certain bumpers scattered on the table. There's also a third flipper on the upper left part of the table, which can be helpful in keeping the puck towards the top. There are a couple of planet-shaped bumpers located towards the upper right portion of the table to score massive points as your puck ricochets off them. There's also a special event that can happen if you hit the switch above said plants and then have your puck collide with it enough to destroy them. Did these plants have any sort of inhabitants on them? Who cares? Let's score one up!
See? Look at the fireworks! Aren't they splendid?
Now every table in the game has their own little mini-game scenario, either hidden on the table after meeting certain criteria, or as part of a story unfolding on the table.
Honestly though, I don't really expect the developers to include a whole lot of interesting stuff for the minigames for this game. After all, they just came off of making Super Metroid and probably have a whole lot of time to get this game created to launch with the Virtual Boy. So, I'm going to temper my expectations here and...
Roger, Samus.
Yes! Yes! Metroid's here! Metroid's here! That was awesome.
First table's minigame is a Galaxian-styled space shooting minigame where you get to pilot a Samus Aran's gunship and shoot down space pirates and Metroids that come your way to score bonus points on your pinball game.
That's right, Metroid Prime pinball fans, eat your hearts out. You've had a whole new installment in the franchise this whole time.
It was just hidden in an unrelated pinball game on a console assertive ice cream for breakfast. Plop that onto the Metroid game timeline right after Metroid 1 and before Prime and Prime Pinball. There you go. The missing link is here! Cosmic is the only table that has any sort of minigame or reference to other Nintendo franchises, but they use that reference very well. That's probably the most notable thing I can think of with the Cosmic table. The rest is fairly basic, space-themed bumpers and traditional score multipliers found in typical pinball cabinets. Very basic, but very fun nonetheless. Next up is Colony. In this table, the main objective is to try to hit the puck into the satellites that are being pointed at with the highlighted arrows on the map. These are supposed to activate the colony's security systems to help protect it from incoming comets as well as nab more score. In the top left corner of the screen is a radar that as you play the game, the comets will continue to get closer and closer to the table. Once the comets get into close enough range, the main table gimmick begins. The puck will rise above the table as well as the tension with the music going up into a panicky state. You'll enter a shooting game where you have to move your aiming reticle 360 degrees around the table to shoot the incoming comets to get bonus points. This minigame, out of all the ones included in Galactic Pinball, does the best job at utilizing the Virtual Boy's 3D display. In the captured footage, it looks like a pathetic numbnut who can't hit a target to save his life, but you're actually aiming around in 3D space to hit the comets, which approach at different heights and distances towards the table. And this is a case where the game plays better with the Virtual Boy's actual display. In fact, in many instances, the game actually lends itself very well to the headset being played on. For the most part, the game is still very playable, but the minigame like this very much plays best with the 3D effect intact. Outside of the comet shooting gimmick of the table, there isn't much else in terms of obstacles to interact with. Not much in the way of bumpers to mess with, but there's a slot you can try to land the puck in at a certain amount of times to get letters to spell out the name of the table to gain more points. In fact, that's a mechanic that is hidden in every single table. It's just a little thing to give you extra points throughout your play session. Overall, this table is pretty fun, about on par with Cosmic, but the comet shooting minigame really makes this table stand out compared to the rest. Third up is UFO. In this table, we have a giant center loop that goes around the UFO at the top of the pinball board. After some time, the UFO takes off, revealing bumpers that when you hit the puck through will net you more points. If you continue to keep the puck up in the bumpers and score enough points to get the bumper bonus, the UFO can eventually come back down and drop a giant skeleton enemy to replace the bumpers. Hitting the puck to different parts of the skeleton will grant major points, while getting the puck in the skeleton's mouth granting you a whopping 2 million point bonus. I kinda wonder where the skeleton came from. I guess some alien abducted someone to probe their butt and the poor guy couldn't take it, keeling over from the pain and ended up becoming the skeleton you see here today. On each side of the pinball table are 2 door slots that when opened up you can hit the puck into to nab bonus points and added effects like extra bumpers to keep the pinball puck from going into the gutters on the side of the table. This table is quite fun, but there isn't a whole lot of gimmicks to it. It's fairly basic when the UFO is in place, but the set pieces that appear when the ship takes off can go a long way in boosting the replayability of the map. Compared to the rest of the tables in the game, this one feels the most condensed and clustered, giving you not a lot of room to keep the ball away from the paddles. That does make the actual pinball gameplay way more engaging since you're constantly having to be on your toes though as you play. This also makes the action a lot more fast paced compared to the other tables in the game. It's a fantastic table to play, but a fairly small table compared to the rest of the game. Final table is Alien. This table has a very vertical player area, with a set of 3 bumpers in the center of the table, 2 loops located at the top corners for the puck to go through, and an extra set of pinball paddles in the upper portions of the table as well. The main goal is that in the top center of the table is an alien's lair, which can be way harder to get the puck into than it seems. As you try to score the puck into the hole on the top, you'll send the puck through the loops and try to catch into the bumpers in the center to try to rack up a bunch of points, as well as cause damaging ear rape. The easiest way to sink the puck into the alien's lair is to try to get the puck to the upper paddles of the table and with precise timing launch it in. If you manage to do so, the bumpers in the center will instead be replaced by an alien head that you need to repeatedly smack around. You must have trespassed an illegal outer space and it's up to you to lay down the pinball law on him. Then I'll leave it to professionals.
Oh, sorry, that's a little bit inaccurate. If I was actually portraying the US Border Patrol, I would have actually had to miss every single time. Yay, political jokes! Huzzah!
Hitting the alien enough times will nab you a bunch of extra points as well. For me, Alien is probably the weakest table in terms of the complexity of the map and the central gimmick feature on the table. When playing, there's plenty of downtime when you launch the ball into the bumpers, and getting the ball through the loops on the top of the table leaves you a lot of downtime as well. Despite this being the weakest table in terms of standing out in complexity, it can still be quite fun, but if I'm playing Galactic Pinball, I'm not jumping straight to this table immediately. After having some fun on the tables, you can view the high scores for each pinball set. A lot of the default names on the high score tables are initials of different staff members who worked on the game, a practice that is very common in arcade and score attack style games of the era. Galactic Pinball doesn't have any sort of local multiplayer mode built in, though you can't go directly head to head. You can take turns sticking your head into the sweaty eyepiece and compete to get the high score that way. That, or you can compete to get pink eye. You know, kill two birds with one stone that way too. So that was Galactic Pinball on the Virtual Boy. For a pinball game in 1995, this certainly features a good few tables to choose from, all of which are of pretty great quality as well. Nowadays, this game hasn't really left a big footnote when it comes to pinball games, or even Nintendo pinball games, but I feel like this is more of a case of the failure in the Virtual Boy itself, rather than the game. If this was on a more successful platform, I feel like Galactic Pinball will be much more fondly remembered.
Next time, we're going to be looking at the third and final launch title for Virtual Boy created by Nintendo, Tolero Boxer. Until then, though, we're going to continue immersing myself in some more Galactic Pinball action. So, wish me luck!
This whole dream? Dang it. I'm gonna talk about it again. Oh.
Help me, dog. Help me. Help me.